Rabah al-Madoun looks at what's left of his home after an Israeli airstrike destroyed it. He's one of thousands of Palestinians left homeless by the relentless attacks. Despair has now turned to anger, many pointing the finger at Israel's leader.
We demand that the person responsible for destroying the houses, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, rebuild them. The International Criminal Court should tell him, you destroyed these houses, so you have to rebuild them.
The UN estimates around 1,000 homes were destroyed in Gaza. Desalination plants were also hit, leaving 800,000 people without access to fresh piped water. 6 hospitals were damaged and 12 other health facilities, including Gaza's only coronavirus test facility.
This is the only lab under the Gaza Health Ministry that specializes in coronavirus testing. Now, it's impossible to complete these tests, which will trigger a spread of the virus.
In occupied East Jerusalem, tensions remain high. Israeli police used stun grenades to disperse Palestinians protesting against forced expulsions in Sheikh Jarrah. At the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where the conflict began a fortnight ago, police arrested 6 Palestinians and blocked some from entering the site as they escorted Israeli settlers into the compound. As some Israeli troops pulled out from the Gaza border, the UN Security Council called for full adherence to the ceasefire. Many of those left homeless are just praying for peace. Floyd Kush, TRT World.
Normally, it was a daily routine for Israeli settlers. Some of them were escorted, and it used to be escorted by Israeli police, and they were storming Aqsa compound, Aqsa mosque compound, and there were some Palestinians that was always protesting for their entrance. And I think the situation is still tense in here, occupied East Jerusalem, especially in Al-Aqsa compound, because this is the 3rd day of the ceasefire, and it shows that how this ceasefire is very fragile. If we look at what triggered all of this, we can say that first Israeli police entrance and attacks of Palestinians worshippers inside Al-Aqsa Mosque, and also Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. This is where 13 families were under the threat of eviction. I think the factors that can trigger another war is still on air right now in occupied East Jerusalem. When we look at what Benjamin Netanyahu said after the ceasefire, first of all, it was a unilateral one. It was declared basically by Israel, and then it was reciprocated by Hamas. And Israel was saying that they reached their aims in this escalation in this war, and they were saying that we decreased Hamas capabilities in the Gaza Strip, and they say that they reached their aims, that they can have a quiet for at least 5 to 6 years. Why we say that 5 to 6 years? Because Benjamin Netanyahu defined these wars as periodic, means that after the 2008 and 2014 and 2021, Israelis are seeing this type of wars against Hamas as periodic, means that after 5-6 years quiet, there might be another war. I think that's the main doctrine of Israeli government right now. The only thing that we know so far is that this ceasefire kind of came for quiet from both sides. And that's why we still do not know the details of this agreement. If you ask Hamas reached their aims, which is to get some assurances from Israel about Al-Aqsa. Hamas was saying that Israel should withdraw their police force in Aqsa, and also Israel should withdraw their aims in Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. But when we look at the situation the days followed after ceasefire, Israeli police still entering Al-Aqsa Mosque and attacking Palestinians, and also we still do not know what will happen in Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. Police still control Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. It looks like Hamas couldn't get what they wanted when we look at the practical issues on the field, and also Israel couldn't get what they wanted because Hamas is still showing some warring capabilities still. It looks like the only detail of this ceasefire is quiet for both sides.